Hi. I guess I should really start out with Blessed Be. Obviously, a lot of people know me to be homosexual. My voice is the first thing that gives it away. They base it off of that stereotypical idea because it is very feminine, it is very soft, and it very is high pitched for a man. However, I want people to also understand that that isn't a basis in which it can be described upon. It is a very typical image. I obviously don't talk with a lisp and say, hey, girlfriend. So it obviously is something that people automatically get a consumption of idea from. But the main reason I'm posting this video is because of some of the responses you've got from Juggernaut 1486. It says that, so why not? Homosexuality is the result of environmental effects such as no mother, no childhood friends, etc. In some cases, it's also a genetic retardation. Why include genetic retardation in your life? You responded with, because homosexuality manifests in people who do have mothers, friends, and healthy DNA. Kinds kills the theory. Just like the idea that gay people can't raise kids because they'll raise gay kids. Kind of like the same concept that straight parents only raise straight kids. A little personal insight on my life. I was raised in a family who was very Christian oriented, who was very homophobic. Both my mother and father, who were my biological parents, I was raised with them through 15 years of my life. When I turned 15, they separated. By the time at age of 16, they had got a legal divorce. However, though I lived with my father, I still had constant contact with my mother. That in no way had any outcome on my sexual orientation. I am a proud 100% homosexual male who has now been in a committed relationship for 2 years with my partner, or should I say fiance. We're simply waiting for the state to legalize our marriages. And in essence, I find it to be legalizing marriage rather than legalizing gay marriage, to legalize marriage overall. And I'd like to really say thank you for the open-minded viewpoint that, science has proved that it is a natural concept in nature that animals do have homosexual tendencies, whether it be human or other sorts, as well as religion doesn't necessarily fit one person, because there is obviously world religions that don't necessarily condone, as well as don't necessarily convict homosexual activity. The major ones, of course, being Judaism, Islamic religions, Catholicism, Christian, anything of a Christian doctrine, really, along with Islamic religions, don't condone and actually condemn homosexual behaviors, whereas there's others that just don't even address the issue nor care about it. So obviously, that being a factor that can't really be included. Now, I had posted a video earlier in reference to pretty much the same challenge with this. It didn't get the responses that I was really asking for, so I deleted it from my account because it was getting more of hate messages and hate mail, and nothing of really understanding and education. Now, I have posted one today that both includes facts similar to yours to post references and kind of share that idea, as well as also posting personal opinion that would include why somebody themselves wouldn't really care or hate against homosexuality, but also include those who would support and stand behind homosexuality in a basis of not only the fact idea, but also the personal opinion to say, hey, this is how I look on the concept of it. Now, I do understand this topic is highly controversial, and mainly because of religional basis, but I really wanted to thank you for putting out there a video that wants people to think about it and educate themselves and understand that we are people just like anybody else. With my family being really Christian oriented and very homophobic, it was definitely hard for me to come out to my family, especially for my grandmother and grandfather on my mother's side. They're the only ones that really took care of me as a child as well as they did. A lot of grandparents watch after their grandchildren, whereas my grandparents did a lot of raising of me. I used to spend every weekend with them. Now, with my father, he was a real hard homophobe. He was pretty close to following in the Fred Phelps of the Westboro Baptist Church kind of following. And to come out to him when I was 14 years old was definitely very difficult. But when I did so, it's just like, hey, Dad, I really don't care what your response is to this, but I have to tell you, I am a homosexual. I am gay, and I love men. It's not just the sexual aspect of it, it's also the emotional and the mental aspect of it all, which I think a lot of people miss. This is not just about sex. It's about emotion, it's about mental attraction. It's about the idea it's not just a man. It's about their personality, it's about their persona, it's about their mannerisms, about who they are rather than what they are. And that's exactly how my father responded. He says, "You're my son. You'll always be my son. And that doesn't change who you are. Just because you're labeled with a title like society doesn't change who you are. It just changes how people look at what you are." And he's always rather looked at me as a person of who I am rather than something as what I am. And the same thing happened with my grandparents. My grandmother and grandfather took it a little harder. They didn't like the idea, but they're the main part of my family that I still visit with. So I guess in aspect of it all, I think it really has a lot to do with personal opinion, but yet being able to reach closer to home. So with that, I'd like to say blessed be, and may the Lord and Lady grant you with blessings and great fortune in your daily life, so you may achieve things beyond that of which you choose. Blessed be to you by the Lord and Lady themselves.